It's the 6th day of the month of Teves, and we, Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach, are learning the 81st daf of Maseches Pesachim. We're on Pei Aleph, Amud Aleph, but we are going to review very briefly from the from Pei Amud Beis at the bottom. The Gemara was discussing a brisa, just to bring us back into it. The Gemara was discussing, member of Rabbi Chia, that Tumas HaTahaim, Rabbi Chia told us that Tumas HaTahaim only applies to a mace, applies to a mace bilvad, and we were trying to use that as a proof to prove the principle that Tumas HaTahaim for a kohen that is involved in the avoda is also going to be nishratze with the tzitz. The tzitz is going to help even for the kohen, not just for the baalim of the Korban Pesach, not just for the nazir. And that was from the Maimon of Rabbi Chia, because we tried to reduce that statement to try to figure out what it could be talking about, what Rabbi Chia is talking about. And we said maybe it means to be mamayit sheretz. We said the sheretz wouldn't have been relevant to a nazir, and maybe it was talking about the baalim. And then the Gemara had concluded, well, hold on a second, this is where we got up to from yesterday. Says the Gemara from 3 lines from the bottom on Pei Amud Beis, Amar of Yosef Lola Olam Baalim. Now that statement is talking about the baalim over Pesach, and we are talking about Pesach. Tumas HaTahaim Deziva. It's to be mamayit the tuma of tahim of a ziva. What exactly is the tumas tahim of a ziva? So the tumas tahim of a ziva would be on the 7th day of becoming tar from being a zav. So that would be unknowable. What the status would be? That is an unknowable tuma, and that is what Reb Chia is coming to tell us is going to be nismayit, and therefore we cannot use the same in Reb Chia to prove that a kohen doing the avoda would also have the tzitz deal with his tumas ha-tahayim. And then the Gemara challenged that. 2 lines from the bottom of Pei Amud Beis says the Gemara, tumas tahayim de ziva loy miratze. Is it really true that you would say that the tumas tahayim of a ziva is not going to be miratze? Who says that that's true? Vahatanya. We have a brisa that says against this. Rabbi Yossi says shemeres yom keneged yom, that if you have a woman that is shemeres yom keneged yom. So what exactly is this? So we left off with this yesterday. Shemeres yom keneged yom is the following. La halacha, there are 2 normative statuses that a woman has in terms of her flow. There is normative menstrual flow, that's called nida. And a nida has to wait shiva nekim. Nida has to wait shiva nekim after her there's nida and there's ziva. There are 7 days of the month that a woman can be a nida, followed by 11 days that she could be a ziva. What happens if after she's finished being a nida, she now knows that she's not a nida, she's not in her Yomi nidus anymore, she sees a flow of blood. So if she sees 1 day, so then what she does is she goes to the mikveh that day, and then that night she'll be okay. This is all din daraisa. Min Rabban the Gemara Nida Daf Samvav points out that today we treat all nidas like zivas, all zivas like nidas, so we don't differentiate. But midaraisa, she is what's called a shemeres yom keneged yom. Means if she sees blood on the first day, on a random day that she knows is not during her menstrual period, then she would go to the mikveh that day. That night she'd be able to be tahira already again. And that is true for day 1, day 2. But by day 3, if she has 3 days in a row, then she becomes what's called a zav gedola or a zav gemura, and then she has to wait shiva nekim. So says the Gemara as follows: Rabbi Yossi told the shemeres yom keneged yom. With regards to a woman that is counting 1 day of the next day of the next day, meaning she saw on day 1, she went to the mikveh. She saw on day 2, she went to the mikveh. That you shech the Korban Pesach, and that you sprinkle the blood of the Korban Pesach on her behalf, b'sheni shela, on her 2nd day, meaning she saw that on her 2nd day. The first day was the 13th of Nisan. Now we're up to the 14th of Nisan. And then she saw something else. She's not going to be able to eat from the Pesach. And she's potter from bringing a Pesach Sheni. My timer, why is she potter from bringing Pesach Sheni? Lav mishum de miratze tzitz is not because the tzitz was miratze for her. Meaning, why is it that she's part from Pesach Sheni? She didn't have a Pesach Rishon. It must be that the tzitz helped with the tumas time. On day 2, it wasn't clear whether she became a Zavak Dala or not. She doesn't know. She doesn't know, am I going to become a Zavak Dala? But by that night, she saw blood again. Now I'm a Zavak Dala. What am I going to do? No, it must be that her status of being a Zava, which was unknown and unknowable beforehand, that was dealt with by the tzitz, and therefore she's part from Pesach Sheni. Says the Gemara Amri, they said, they said, no, that's not true. Meaning that's not a good rejection of the possibility that the tzitz is going to help with the tumas time of ziva. Because Rabbi Yossi holds mikana lahabahi mitama. Now the tumah that happens is going into the future, meaning you can't say that the tzitz was miratze for her during the daytime. It wasn't, because she didn't need it during the day. She had already gone to mikvah. She was tahira completely. She was shemer siyam keneged yom. She was waiting until nightfall to be able to eat from the karbanos, but she was completely tahira. She was 100% tahira. The fact that she saw again on that day 2, day 3 means that she now becomes a zavak dala, but the mikana la'aba, that's only going into the future. But retroactively, that wouldn't be the case. V'hatani, now we have a dead giveaway that that's not the case. V'hatani, didn't we have a brisa that taught Rabbi Yossi says zav bal shterius, a zav that sees 2 discharges, meaning there's with regards to a zav, there's a different din. A zav that sees 3 discharges as opposed to a zav, meaning a woman versus a man. A zav that sees 3 discharges within 3 days or less becomes a zav, becomes a full zav, even if it was all 3 on the same day, and even if it was within 3 days but not on consecutive days. But zav bal shterius, you have a zav that has seen 2 re'iyos, that on the 7th day, for him, meaning, so if he now waits, so meaning he saw 2 re'iyos, and now he is a zav gadol, and he has seen 2 re'iyos during Shiva Nikim, and if he sees another one on day 7, now he becomes zav. That'll mess up all of his Shiva Nikim, meaning by men you also have Shiva Nikim for a zav. And his 7th day falls out on Erev Pesach. That they shech the Korban Pesach, they did Zrikas Adam with him in mind. He was part of the Chabura on his 7th day, and then he saw something. And the same thing would be true with a woman that is waiting 1 day per 1 day. With regards to her tumah, that they shechted for her on her 2nd day, and then she saw again, meaning either him or her. They are going to be metame. They're going to cause tumah of mishkan of anything that they lay down on, anything that they sat on, limafre retroactively. Meaning the zav went to the mikveh on the morning of the 7th day. The zava went to the mikveh on the morning of the 7th day. All good. Baruch Hashem, beautiful. This is great. And they are both waiting for nightfall. If nothing goes wrong, then they can eat from the Korban Pesach. What happens if something did go wrong? What if they saw a re'iyah? So in that case, says the Gemara, according to the Bryce of Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yossi says lemafreh, that retroactively, all of the things that they sat on, all the things that they allowed, all of that is going to be tummy lemafreh. What does that mean? It means that the tummy is not mikana laba. It's not only going forward. It means retroactively, and you would have needed the tzitz to help you in order to be yotze, because of P'turim Asas Pesach Sheni, and the part from doing Pesach Sheni. So it must be that the tzitz is going to be meratze for you. That would be the only way, because your tumah is going to work, is going to be effective, meaning it's going to be metame things even retroactively. They said, no, ma lemafreya. What do we mean that the tumah exists lemafreya? That's only a din midrabanan, midin de araisa, but the zav and the zava are tahirim completely. The tahirim completely according to Rabbi Yossi. There's nothing to talk about here. Meaning you don't need the tzitzim in meratze, because it's only mikana la'aba that they're going to be metame. Midrabanan Rabbi Yossi holds that there's a tumah lemafreya. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yoshi a savar, and the Rabbi Yoshi also holds metamel lemafreya midrabanan. Rabbi Yossi had told us that you metamel lemafreya midrabanan. The Tanya, because it was taught. Rabbi Yoshia says aval, but zav sherabi shvi shalai shalafanu, a zav that sees on his seventh day messes up that which is in front of him, meaning it destroys that which is in front of him. Rashi here points out that, interestingly, there's a strange Rashi here. Rashi says, I don't know what the word aval here means. Lo yodanu heicha kai aval. I don't know why he's saying the word but. What is the but here? So Rabbi David points out, no, that this is a paraphrasing of the Mishnah in Zavim, and Rabbi Yoshia, and the correct way to read this is actually Ditnan, or the Tani Rabbi Yoshia. Rabbi Yoshia taught the Mishnah. It's not his own opinion. It's quoting from the Mishnah in Zavim, meaning it shouldn't be Rabbi Yoshia. It's not his own opinion. It was that which he taught. That as Zav Sharabi Shvi Shalai Saiser Shalafanu, that is going to mess up only that which is going ahead. So Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan has a kash on this. He says, "What do you mean? Lo yistar ella." Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says, "Lo yistar ella yom." No, you should only mess up that day. You should only mess up that day. Now the Gemara has a challenge on Rabbi Yochanan. What do you mean he should only mess up? Meaning, if he sees it on the seventh day, it should only mess up that day. Either which way, that Rabbi Yochanan's kasha doesn't make any sense. If you hold that he was matame retroactively, I feel nistar, then all of the shivanikim he has to redo. He has to start again. And if you hold that is matame from today going forward, meaning now he's seen again, now he has to count another shivanikim. So, but it's only going forward, but nothing that he was touched that day. So yominami lo nistar. So that day wasn't messed up, meaning he did have Shivanikim, and now he is totally tar from Shivanikim, and now he would have to start counting again because he saw another ear. So says the Gemara, Ella Ema lo yistar v'lo yoma. Rabbi Yochanan's kasha to Rabbi Yoshia was lo yistar v'lo yoma. You shouldn't mess up even that day. So Amalei Rabbi Yossi kai kavasach. So he said. So Rabbi Yoshia says, no, you're right. Rabbi Yossi kai kavasach. Rabbi Yossi holds like you. He does hold like you. But didn't Rabbi Yossi say that with Mitame, the Mishkav, the Moshav, Lima, Freya, that retroactively, even that which the Zav and the Zava touched that day, once they realize that they are now Tame again, that's retroactively going to create Tumah for that which they came in contact with. Rather, you have to conclude that this is, in fact, what we have been saying so far, that according to Rabbi Yossi, according to Rabbi Yoshia, that the Tumah is only midrabanan. So meaning the Chachamim will go to that the Tumah should exist lemafreya, but that is not the din mid'oraisa, and therefore you don't need the tzitz. And that's the operative point of this. And if you don't need the tzitz, then the statement of Rabbi Chia that tells you that the statement of Rabbi Chia that told us that Tumas Tahim is only for the Tumas Tahim is only for Tumas Mace and not for something else, is not going to be able to tell you anything about the Kohanim. Says the Gemara, says the Gemara, whoa, hold on a second. According to Rabbi Yossi, who holds that on the level of the Raisa, that you are only mitame that which comes after you, meaning into the future. You're not metame retroactively ever. So, lemeis bilvad, with regards to Tumas Mace bilvad, and that's what we're talking about. Meaning the statement of Rabbi Chia that said that Tumas Tahim is only going to help for a mace. What does that exclude? So nivshe minei the kain v'hutraloi Tumas Tahim must be that. We are talking about the Kayin and V'hutrala Tumas Tahim. Meaning, and now the statement of Rabbi Chia is coming to teach you something, because if according to Rabbi Yossi, you don't need the tzitz for the balim in a case of zav or zava. So then, what other tumah do we have? He says it's only for tumas mace, and we've said that it's for sure not about tumas sheretz because that's not relevant. And we've just proven that according to Rabbi Yossi, that the statement of Rabbi Chia cannot be talking about a zav and a zava. So what's left? There must be the Kayin, and the tzitz is going to help with the Tumas Hatayim. And says the Gemara, no, maybe that's not true. So Amri, they said la'olam ba'alim uba Pesach. It is talking about the Baalim. It's only talking about the Baalim, and we are talking about Pesach with Kasavar, and he holds in Shechem Nezakim al Tmei Sheret. That according to Rabbi Yossi is also of the opinion that in Shechem Nezakim al Tmei Sheret that you cannot do Shchita and Zrika for somebody that is Tamei with a Tmei Sheret, and therefore you need Rabbi Chia's statement to tell you that Tumas Time does not help you with that the tzitz doesn't help you with the Tumas Time of Sheret. Meaning Rabbi Yossi does hold like that din as well. So which means that we don't have a proof that the kohen is the tumas tahom of the kohen that does the avoda is going to be dealt with by the tzitz. Ella Rabbi Yossi. Now the Gemara returns back to Rabbi Yossi on a fundamental level. Ella Rabbi Yossi zav gemura heich mishkachas. Hold on a second. How are you ever going to have a zav gemura? Meaning, if Rabbi Yossi holds that you only are going to be metam mekan al, so a woman sees a riyah, she goes to the mikveh that day, good, and then now she's tahara, so she's back to 0, and then she sees it another day 2, and then she goes to the mikveh, and then she's totally tahara. So how is she ever going to become a zav gedolah? How do you ever get to 3 days? Meaning, yeah, you cannot have 3 consecutive days of tumah because every time she goes to the mikvah, you're never going to have zav gemura. Says the Gemara, yeah, you can. Why? How? B'shevas. If it is a constant flow, meaning it's not that she sees one drop and one drop and one drop. True, because she would say that would not make you a zav gedolah. B'shevas, if she sees a constant flow over 3 days, that would make her a zav gedolah. So ibai sema, or alternatively, how else could you become a zav gedolah? Kigon shirasa kol sheni ben hashmasas. If she saw on 2 consecutive nights, ben hashmashas, meaning she saw a flow, or she saw blood coming out of her on 2 consecutive nights during ben hashmashas, and then it would count for both days on either side, and then she becomes a Avgdala. Okay, Bar Rav Yosef says Rav Yosef. Back to our question of the kohen. Bar Rav Yosef kohen hamaratze b'tamid, a kohen that is bring the korban tamid throughout the year. Not talking about Pesach, not talking about Nazir. A kohen hamaratze b'tamid, kohen that is bring korban tamid. Hutralei tumas daim olai. Does the tzitz help him for tumas hatahim or not? This kain. We don't know about the kain. We haven't explained about the kain with regards to Pesach and with regards to Nazir. But Yosef wants to know about the kain that is doing the avodah of the korban tamid. If he finds out that he has tumas time, what will be the din? If you're going to say kain amaratze become a sayim that a kain that is doing the avodah of the Nazir and the Pesach, if you want to say that hutra lai tumas time, that tumas time becomes mutter for him, kain amaratze b'tamid, mai. So the question now exists that a kain that is doing the korban tamid, what would his din be? Mi amrina, do we say ki gemiri tumas time in Pesach, b'tamid lo gemiri? Oidilma yalif tamid Pesach. Do we say that we have a halacha l'Moshe Sinai that the kohen, and we don't know this for certain, we haven't proved this for certain, that the kohen that is bringing the korban Pesach, we have that is included in the halacha l'Moshe Sinai, that the tzitz helps with tumas tahim for that kohen, and that also includes all kohanim all the time that are doing the avodah, meaning tamid as well, not all of it, but at least tamid. That's true. Do we say that the halacha l'Moshe Sinai includes that b'tamid, or do we say b'tamid lo gemiri? Do we learn tamid from Pesach? Do we say no? It's only specific to Pesach, but tamid is not the case. Amar Rabba says kal v'chaimer. We could say a kal v'chaimer as follows: in a place where Tuma Yudua was not mutar for him, meaning a Nazir and a Nazir and a Makriv Korban Pesach, and the people that are bringing Korban Pesach is not mutar for him. Tuma Yudua, Hutralai Tumas Hatahim. The Tumas Hatahim is going to be mutar for him on that side. That the Tumas Hatahim is going to be mutar for him. Malcolm Shehutralai Tuma Yudua, a place that we know that Tuma Yedua would be mutter for him because this would be a Karban Tzibur. So Malcolm Shehud lo Tumas Yedua turning on to pay Aleph and base, and a din Shehud lo Tumas Hataim, would it not be all the more logical that it would certainly be mutter for him if he found out retroactively that there was some unknown and unknowable Tuma that he came in contact with? Says the Gemara challenging this, and we'll just see the question here. They said, since when do we make a kal v'chomer on a halacha l'Moshe Misinai? Meaning, halacha l'Moshe Misinai is a unique din. You can't learn a kal v'chomer from that because that's like exactly that. Kodesh Baruch Hu said it's this way. It's outside of the rubric of the Yud Gimel Midah Shatran Drushes by him. You don't make drushes. You can't make a kal v'chomer on a halacha l'Moshe Misinai. Says the Gemara Tanya, Amalei Rabbi Eliezer, Akiva. Didn't they say it? Didn't Rabbi Eliezer say to Rabbi Akiva, Akiva etzem kasa'ir halacha? The bone that is the size of a grain of barley is metame, meaning a human bone that's the size of a grain of barley is metame. That's halacha l'Moshe Misinai. That's halacha l'Moshe Misinai. Revius dam kal v'chomer, and revius of dam kal v'chomer. The din that a revius of blood is going to be metame tumas meis is a kal v'chomer. Ve'in dalin kal v'chomer halacha, but we don't learn kal v'chomer from halacha. Meaning that's that statement, that brisa is that we do not learn any din of kal v'chomer from a halacha l'Moshe Misinai, and therefore Rava has to come to defend us, and we'll just see the next line here. Ela Amar Rava said, Yalef ma'adai mepasach. We're not going to learn it as a kal v'chomer. We are going to learn it as a din of ma'adai mepasach. That whatever dinim apply to Pesach also apply to the Karban Tamid. Meaning we can learn it as a Gzera Shava and not as a kal v'chomer, because Gzera Shava you can learn. Meaning these dinim are the same. Okay. Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, we will continue with Tumas Tahim Gufa Heich Ksiva, this din about Tumas Tahim. Hashem Yisbarach will continue on Shabbos and on Matzah Shabbos, and hope that everybody has a beautiful day, beautiful Erev Shabbos, and we will see you Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach tomorrow.